Hello my friends, welcome back to another video. We're doing my favorite video, which is letting my TBR jar pick my June reads. It's one of my favorite videos to film. It's just so fun. Like, which prompt am I gonna get? Which book am I gonna choose? Like, it's like a little surprise and I really love that. I do feel like I should have freshened up my prompts, but that's okay. If you've never seen a video like this before, essentially I've got little prompts in here. Things like pick a book that has only 3 words in the title, or pick a book that has the color pink on the cover. Just little prompts like that, and then I will choose a book that will correlate with that. So this is all my to be read. So we've got quite a good selection. Sorry guys, I hope the lighting is okay. It's so bright and I just can't seem to get it to not be as bright. Okay guys, so without further ado, let's begin. A book you want to annotate. I feel like I had this prompt recently, maybe like 3 videos ago, I can't remember. Anyways, this will have to be a book that I think will have really good lines in it, or like things that I think I'll want to remember and kind of come back to. Thinking I either want to do Rouge by Mona Awad. Is it good enough to annotate? Not good enough, but does it have really good quotes and lines in it? I don't know. This is like a gothic sort of fairy tale. It's kind of about like people's obsession with the pursuit of youth and beauty, which I feel like is very current in today's society. Like, people are really obsessed with maintaining youth and being beautiful. So I feel like this will have a lot of kind of good quotes about that. I don't know. But I don't know if I'm really in the mood to read something like that just yet. Okay, I've selected the book that I want, and it's purely because I really want to get to this book as soon as possible. I'm really looking forward to reading it. So for this prompt, I'm gonna choose Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I don't know much about it. I posted a video recently saying that I don't know a lot about it, and I think I had a couple comments saying you're not meant to go into this book knowing much about it. You should go into it blind. A lot of people have said it's like a really fantastic book, 5-star, and I feel like I might want to annotate it. I think I will, so I'm just gonna choose this for that prompt, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I think I'm gonna be choosing 8 prompts, by the way. It depends on how like big the books are, but usually 8 prompts is what I do. A book that gives off Reputation album vibes. So Reputation is a Taylor Swift album. I think I've got a prompt in here for like each Taylor Swift album. Oh, I haven't added one in for the Tortured Poets department. That would be a really good prompt. Anyway, Reputation is sort of like dark, kind of vengeful. She's kind of seeking revenge in that album. We'll need to find a book that kind of gives off that same sort of dark, vengeful vibe. Do you know what I mean? As soon as I turned around, I know what I'm gonna choose for this prompt, and I think it's a really good pick. I'll tell you why I picked this book and why I think it's really good for it. For this prompt, I've selected Vicious by V.E. Schwab. The reason I've chosen this book is because the second book in this series is called Vengeful. Like, literally, as I was talking about this prompt, I was like, oh, I want something vengeful and dark, and isn't that just perfect? I'm really looking forward to this one. All I know is that it's about these 2 best friends who find out that if someone has a near-death experience, they end up acquiring some sort of like supernatural power. And I think they use this kind of knowledge to their advantage and then end up... I really don't know. I'm just pulling this out of thin air. I don't know much about it. Just based off the back of it, that's kind of what seems to be the gist of it. Oh, and then I think they end up getting very successful, but then one of the best friends ends up going to prison while the other one... No. I think one of them goes to prison and then the other one gets very successful. And then the one that goes to prison comes out of it sort of seeking vengeance. I'm not sure. V.E. Schwab wrote The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is like a 6-star book for me. I loved it, and I know I love her writing, so I'm really excited to give this one a go. Okay, 3rd prompt. I don't feel like doing this. I'm gonna skip this one. It's a, oh, can I focus? A reread. I don't know if that's focusing. I don't really feel like rereading a book this month, to be honest. I feel like reading kind of new stories, so I am gonna skip that. Let's do that again. Third prompt. A book set in New York City. Oh, I love this prompt. I love books or movies set in New York. I don't know what it is. They just have that vibe. Okay, let's have a look. I've got 3 just straight off the bag that I know are set in New York. I'm not gonna choose this one. It was in my last TBR, but I don't feel like reading a classic. The Bell Jar is set in New York. And then I can either do the 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, or I can do 7 Days in June. Is this set in New York? Yes, this is set in New York. The main girl ends up inheriting a New York City apartment. There's magical realism involved where in the apartment it goes back, I think, 7 years, and then she ends up meeting someone. However, there's a problem because there's a bit of like time travel. I explained that so badly. But I really want to read both of these books. I like how they're both set in New York and both have the number 7 in them. I think I'm gonna do this one just because she's got another book coming out, I think this month or next month, and I really want to read this book before that one comes out, especially if I like her writing. I think I'm gonna do the 7-Year Slip for this. So excited. I think I talked about this in a previous video, but I know that the main guy in this is a chef, and I've heard that there's really good descriptions of food, like the ingredients being used to cook and how they cook it and like the aromas. And I love to read about food. Like I love to read about like how people are making their meal and like how they're prepping it. I don't know why, it just brings me a lot of comfort. So I'm very excited, and I'm also really looking forward to reading a romance. I know that usually contemporary romance is not my favorite, but I have a feeling that this one's gonna be one that I really enjoy. So we'll see. And it's got magical realism in it, so it's a little bit different than like your standard contemporary romance. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Okay, 4th prompt. Every time my bow comes off, let's just put her back. Okay, there we go. Why do I do this to myself? Pick a book that you think will make you cry. I don't really cry often in books. I think it's happened to me twice before. It happened to me in A Little Life, and it happened to me in Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. That's kind of all I can remember, to be honest. I think a little bit once when reading Throne of Glass, but I don't often, like I'm not an easy crier in books, so let's see. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to redo that one. I just don't think there's any books on there that are gonna do that to me or even like be sad like that. Is this the 2nd time in this video that I'll be redoing a prompt? I think so. I'm very sorry, but let's do that again. 4th prompt. Oh, I can't get one. Okay, there we go. 4th prompt. Oh, fuck. A book that Rory Gilmore has read. All I can think of is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. So I think she definitely hasn't read any of my fantasy romances, that's for sure. Okay. Clearly the universe wants me to read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I know that Rory Gilmore has read this, so for this prompt, we're going to be reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. It's set in New York City. I do think I'm going to really like this book. I've heard it's not like a difficult sort of classic to get into. I do really enjoy a classic, just not all the time. Just because I really take my time reading it, so you kind of want to, you know, be in the right headspace to read it, because I do like to read them kind of slowly and sort of soak up the words and the information. So I'm excited. I really am. I'm happy. Okay, 5th prompt. Guys, every time, 5th prompt. A book written by a man. That's kind of difficult, to be honest. I mostly read books written by women. Not on purpose, but it's just like, let's see. I've got 3. But I think the one I'm going to choose is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I read this like 12 years ago and I loved it in my youth, like when I was like 15, 16. So I do think it's, aww. The other 2 books I could have chosen, one of them, which I am going to read, but just not right now. Guys, imagine I picked this. The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. This is thick. And this is translated from Russian to English with tiny font, and I don't want to read this just yet. I'm definitely going to start it sometime this year and kind of read it slowly, like over a couple of months, because I've heard it is phenomenal, but I'm not going to do that just yet. 6 prompt. It's so hard to open these little papers. Right. A book with a number in the title. Oh my god. 7 Days in June. Maybe. I was gonna do 7 Days in June, but I think I'm gonna do Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the 2nd book in the Shepherd Kings series. Is that what it's called? The first book was One Dark Window, and I really loved that book. I finished it just a week ago, and I'm trying to not leave too much time between when I read books within a series. Every time I leave too much time, it makes me like not want to pick up that book because I've kind of forgotten what's happened. It's just not good. So my goal for the rest of the year is that when I read a book in a series, I can't wait too long to read the next one. I've heard this one's even better than the first one, so I'm really looking forward to that. Okay guys, 2 more prompts to go. I've had it up to here with that bow. I'm just gonna take it off for now. Can you read that? Free choice. I can just pick whatever I want. That is so exciting. Okay. For this, I'm gonna do Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance, and I just finished, what's it called? I just finished Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. It was my first book from her, and I absolutely loved it. So I recently got this one, and I am really looking forward to it. There's just something so nice about reading historical romances, and because I recently just watched Bridgerton, not recently, like I just watched season 3, I've seen all the other Bridgerton series and I love them, but I'm kind of in that historical romance mood. So how pretty is the cover? If you are a romance reader and you haven't yet dabbled in historical romances, like it's just got everything you want. Great tension, great banter, like very good kind of more forbidden love, or like sometimes enemies to lovers. Like it's just so good. Obviously not as great as like fantasy romance, but I would say way better than like contemporary romance, in my opinion. Last prompt. Nearly ripped it. A book from Kindle Unlimited. I like this because I'm trying to find more books in Kindle Unlimited. Let me get my Kindle and see. Okay, I've got my Kindle here. It's just updating. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, so the book that I'm going to choose for this is The Elite by Kiera Cass. I don't know if you can see. I recently read the selection and I really enjoyed it. It was just like a really nice and easy fun read. I do want to continue on with the series. I actually thrifted the selection. I got it for quite cheap. So when I went on Kindle and saw that they had the whole series on Kindle Unlimited, I was like, yes. I'll just download it. We will be reading The Elite by Kiera Cass, and that is our 8 books to be read in June. I feel like I've got a good selection. We've got classics, magical realism, fantasy romance, historical romance, contemporary romance, sort of like a supernatural kind of one. I feel like that's a very good mix. Okay guys, that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you're going to be reading in June, because I like to know what other people are going to read. I just do. It inspires me. So please let me know in the comments what you will be reading, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!